Today, Christmas is synonymous with impoverished obese proles binging on cheap calorically dense foods and overpriced Chinese goods. The question we red pill alphas need to ask ourselves is what is really going on here? How do we avoid getting Christmas cucked? How did Christmas go from a religious celebration to worship of commodities purchased on Black Friday? In order to understand the answer to that question, you first need a basic understanding of economics. Unfortunately, your high school economics teacher was zonked on antidepressants and spent a year bumbling through PowerPoint slides, so you didn't learn shit. Before I can do my job of radicalizing the youth, I have to do job of economics teacher. The cost of labor is determined by the cost of goods necessary to sustain a worker. If wages fall below the worker's subsistence needs or expected standard of living, he'll be incentivized to strike or eventually leave the job. Corporations have a duty to their shareholders to maximize profits. In other words, to keep worker pay just high enough so that workers stay to do the job but not any higher. How do you squeeze more profit out of workers if they are already living at subsistence? Expand the labor force supply and replace the next generation with workers who are used to a low pay and standard of living. Second, use the corporate media to indoctrinate domestic workers to accept an even lower standard of living under the guise of environmentalism. Third, enact free trade agreements like NAFTA and TPP so that Chinese slave labor can reduce the cost of household goods and consequently the cost of subsistence. Finally, outsource as many jobs to the world as you can. Modern culture is a scam to trick you into living off a low-cost mix of goods, services, and life experiences while getting extracted for maximum productivity. Fast food and soda is the most time-efficient and cheapest way to feed you. Pornography is the cheapest way to satisfy your sexual needs. Collecting geek action figures and playing Nintendo Switch on your wife's boyfriend's couch is a cheaper and easier pastime than being an adult. If any of the above are not enough to keep you passive and compliant, ask a medical professional about Xanax, oxycodone, or Adderall. Obesity isn't just a symptom of modern culture. Modern culture is obesity. People are physically obese from consuming cheap, nutrient-sparse fast food because they are too lazy to cook for themselves like an adult. People are mentally obese. Just as people are too lazy to cook real food, they are too lazy to read serious books. Instead, they opt for a diet of sports facts, celebrity gossip, and political soap opera, creating a people who have a lot to say but ultimately say nothing. Marriage is the legal and economic union of a hard-working drone and a shallow, insecure narcissist who spends all of his money on trivialities. Modern culture is the working class binging on low-quality goods and low-quality information so they can feel rich and intelligent, but ultimately remaining fat and stupid. Stimulating the economy is the impoverished worker swallowing useless commodities, devoid of substance, leaving a weird taste in his mouth while feeling pride for being a patriot. Don't be a normie or a boomer consumer. Don't binge on the cheap and easy so you can feel good in the now, impoverishing yourself in the process. Don't pretend to make a big change this year so you can soak up easy validation like every other self-improvement guy. The mind and body are long-term investments that require careful planning. Invest in durable commodities, dense books, and meaningful life experiences. Focus on stimulating your long-term growth instead of stimulating your ejaculatory reflex by buying dumb, useless shit.